Hey guys, let's talk about texting. Because, let's be honest, in the game of dating, a few badly timed texts can be the difference between landing that second date and ending up on read. Struggling to figure out what to text her after a great date? You're not alone. Texting can make or break your connection. It's a delicate dance, right? You don't want to seem too eager, but you also don't want to leave her hanging. You want to keep the spark alive, but you don't want to smother it. So how do you strike that perfect balance? How do you keep her interested without coming off as needy? That's what we're diving into today. I'm going to break down the art of texting, giving you the tools and tactics to navigate those early conversations with confidence and finesse. First things first, gentlemen. Timing. It's the subtle art that can make or break your interactions. It's not just about what you say, but when you say it. The timing of your messages can convey interest, excitement, or even indifference. Now, I know what you're thinking. Should I wait 3 days to text back, play it cool, or should I respond immediately? Here's the truth. Playing games is outdated. It's time to be genuine and straightforward. We're not in the Stone Age anymore. Communication has evolved, and so should our approach. Think about it. When you're genuinely interested in someone, you don't wait days to reach out. You want to keep the conversation alive and engaging. You want to continue the conversation, right? You want to build a connection and show that you care. The same goes for her. She wants to feel valued and appreciated. So, ditch the waiting game. It's about being authentic and showing genuine interest. It's about finding a natural rhythm that shows you're interested without appearing desperate. Balance is key. Here's a good rule of thumb. Match her texting pace. It's a subtle way to show you're in sync. If she's replying quickly, engage with that energy. Show her that you're equally excited to talk. If she takes a little longer, don't panic and fire off a double text within 5 minutes. Patience is a virtue. Mirroring her pace shows you're paying attention and responding authentically. It's a dance of communication. Now, let's talk about that sweet spot between replying instantly and waiting an eternity. Timing can create anticipation. Waiting an hour or two after a date can actually work in your favor. It gives both of you time to reflect and miss each other a bit. It builds a little anticipation. It's like a mini cliffhanger in your story. It shows you have a life outside of waiting for her reply. You're busy, interesting, and have other things going on, but don't leave her hanging for too long. You want to keep the connection warm. You want to strike while the iron is hot. Keep the momentum going. Remember, the goal is to keep the momentum going. Consistent communication builds trust and interest. You had a great date, the energy is high, and you want to nurture that connection. Keep the spark alive with timely and thoughtful messages. Next up, let's talk about conversation killers. And gentlemen, there's no faster way to kill the vibe than with the dreaded one-word reply. Yeah, cool, okay. These are the passion killers of the texting world. Imagine this. You're telling a captivating story about your recent adventure, and all you get back is a nice, "How deflating is that?" Don't be that guy. Your goal is to show her you're engaged, interested, and invested in the conversation. Instead of those lifeless one-word replies, try to extend the conversation naturally. If she says, "I had a crazy day at work," don't just say, "That sucks." Ask her about it. "Oh no, what happened?" See the difference? Ask open-ended questions, share a funny anecdote, or relate to her experience. Make her feel like you're actually listening and want to hear more. Remember, great conversations are a two-way street. And here's a little secret. Women love it when you remember details. If she mentioned she had a big presentation, follow up on it later. "Hey, how did your presentation go?" "Hope it went well." It shows you're paying attention, and that goes a long way. Another tip is to share your own experiences and thoughts. This makes the conversation more balanced and interesting. For example, if she talks about her day, you can share something similar that happened to you. This creates a connection. Also, don't be afraid to use humor. A well-placed joke can lighten the mood and make the conversation more enjoyable. Just remember to keep it respectful and appropriate. By avoiding one-word replies and engaging more deeply, you'll create a more meaningful and enjoyable conversation. So next time you're texting, remember these tips and watch your conversations come to life. Alright, let's talk about flirting. Because a little playful banter can go a long way in keeping her interested. But there's a fine line between flirty and creepy. We want to walk that line with confidence, not trip over it. Think about it. Flirting is about creating a playful, lighthearted energy. It's about making her smile, making her feel good, but too much too soon, and it can backfire. So, how do you flirt the right way over text? It's all about subtlety. Start with lighthearted teasing. Did she tell you about a funny mishap? Poke fun at her in a playful way. Did she say something witty? Tell her, "You're killing me with your humor today." Remember, the key is to keep it light and playful. You're not trying to write her a sonnet or serenade her through text. A well-placed emoji can also work wonders. Speaking of which, Chapter 4. Emojis. Use sparingly. Emojis. They can be your best friend or your worst enemy. Used sparingly, they can add personality and warmth to your texts. But go overboard and you'll end up looking like a teenager trying to decipher hieroglyphics. Here's the thing. Emojis should enhance your message, not replace it. They should add a layer of emotion or emphasis, not carry the entire conversation. Think of it like this. If you're constantly relying on emojis to convey your message, it's like using a crutch. You want to be able to express yourself clearly and confidently with words. So, how do you use emojis effectively? Stick to a few well-placed ones to add a touch of personality. A laughing emoji after a joke, a smirking emoji after a flirty comment, or a wink emoji to show you're being playful. But resist the urge to spam her with a barrage of emojis after every sentence. Remember, less is more. Let your words do the talking, and use emojis sparingly to add a touch of flavor. Chapter 5. Ask open-ended questions. Now, let's talk about keeping the conversation flowing. It's an art, really, and mastering it can make all the difference in your interactions. And there's no better way to do that than by asking open-ended questions. These questions are the key to unlocking deeper, more meaningful conversations. Remember those one-word conversation killers we talked about earlier? They can really put a damper on things. Well, open-ended questions are their kryptonite. They break through the barriers of short, unengaging responses. Think about it. A closed-ended question can be answered with a simple yes or no. It's a dead end. It doesn't give the other person much to work with. But an open-ended question invites her to share more, to elaborate, to open up. It's like opening a door to a world of possibilities. Instead of asking, "Did you have a good day?" which can be answered with a simple yes or no, ask her, "What was the highlight of your day?" See the difference? This question encourages her to think and share more. The first question invites a one-word answer, which can quickly end the conversation, while the second encourages her to share a specific experience. It opens the door to a richer dialogue. And when she shares, really listen. Ask follow-up questions. This shows that you're genuinely interested in what she has to say. Show genuine interest in her life and what she has to say. This builds a connection and makes the conversation more engaging. Remember, a conversation is a two-way street. It's about both giving and receiving. And here's a bonus tip. People love talking about themselves. It's human nature. Use this to your advantage. So, by asking open-ended questions and actively listening, you're not only keeping the conversation going, but you're also creating a space where she feels heard, understood, and valued. This is the foundation of any strong relationship. So next time you're texting, remember to ask those open-ended questions. They can transform a mundane chat into a meaningful conversation. Chapter 6. The perfect goodnight text. Okay, you've mastered the art of texting, you're keeping the conversation flowing, and you're building that connection. Now it's time to end the night on a high note with the perfect goodnight text. The key here is to be genuine, thoughtful, and leave her wanting more. Avoid generic, forgettable texts like "good night." Instead, try something that shows you were paying attention to the conversation. For example, if she mentioned she was tired, you could say, "Get some rest. I'll be thinking about," mention something you talked about. Or if you had a particularly enjoyable conversation, you could say, "Loved chatting with you. Looking forward to hearing more about," mention something she mentioned tomorrow. See the difference? It's personal, it's thoughtful, and it leaves the door open for future conversation. And remember, a well-timed goodnight text isn't just about ending the conversation, it's about creating anticipation for the next one. It's about leaving her with a smile on her face, thinking about you. Outro texting triumphant. So there you have it, gentlemen. The art of texting, decoded. Remember, it's not about playing games or overthinking every word. It's about being genuine, engaging, and showing her that you're interested without being overbearing. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the worst texting mistake you've ever made? Drop it in the comments below. Let's have a laugh and learn from each other's mishaps. Because at the end of the day, we've all been there. We've all sent that cringe-worthy text that made us want to throw our phones across the room. But hey, it's all part of the learning process, right? What's the worst texting mistake you've ever made? Drop it in the comments, and let's see who can top the list of texting fails.